My colleague just told me a story, a true story about a little boy and a little girl. The little boy and little girl were sitting in a service the other day, and my colleague noticed that the little boy was leaning on the little girl. And he also noticed that the little girl looked uncomfortable. And so eventually the little boy leaves the room, and my colleague takes that opportunity to approach the little girl. And he approaches her and he says to her, "You look uncomfortable." And she said, "I am uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable." And he said, "Well, why didn't you tell the little boy to stop?" And she said, "Because if I tell him to stop, he won't like me anymore." Now, I believe this is classic girl woman behavior. And because we oftentimes don't want the guy to stop liking us, or we want him to start liking us, we often compromise in friendships. We also often compromise in our dating relationships. I'm Pastor Rebecca Davis, and today I want to talk a little bit about, or I want to begin a journey as it relates to the dating relationships, just establishing some principles that we as women need to have when it comes to our friendships, our dating relationships. Sometimes when I'm counseling young women, because oftentimes I am when it comes to this subject, I often take the scenario back to my husband just to get some counsel or advice. And he always tells me that it's inevitable that most times the young lady is going to be the one left hurt in a dating relationship. And I have found that to be true. And because I've found this to be true, I understand now even more why it is imperative for a young lady to know how to set healthy boundaries, or to know how to hold a guy accountable, to know why she should value herself. And so today I just want to leave you with one principle that I think would help in us having healthier friendships and healthier dating relationships. But before I do, I want you to ask yourself a question. If you are in a dating relationship now, I want you to ask yourself this: Am I happy now? Not sometime in the future when we get married, I'll be happy, or when this changes, or if we work a little harder on this, I know that I'll be happy. I know that things will get better. I want you to ask yourself right now, today: Am I happy now with this relationship? And we're going to deal a little bit more with that as the weeks go on. Now, also, before I tell you the principle, I just want to make a statement that, it is the exception and not the rule that God gives somebody a dream or a vision about who they are to marry. Um, In other words, God does not reveal to everybody in dream or vision whom they should marry. But I do believe He has given us firm principles that we can live by, and that we can build our friendships and relationships on, that will help us as we move forward and in choosing our future mates. And young ladies, I want you to know also that you have a lot more control and say so when it comes to these things than you know. Now, here's the principle: your actions should never exceed your level of commitment. Say that one more time. Your actions should never exceed your level of commitment. If you and this young guy are just friends, then you guys need to be just friends. Don't be somewhere in a corner kissing, or somewhere in a car in Walmart parking lot holding hands. If you guys are friends, you need to be just friends. If you're dating, you need to act like you're dating. Don't act like you're married. Young ladies, you don't need to be making his bed if you're dating. You don't need to be washing his clothes if you're dating. You don't need to be cooking his every meal if you're dating. You are not his wife. It's imperative that our actions do not exceed our level of commitment. I believe that that's going to help us as we move forward. Now, until next week, I want you to again ask yourself the question: if you're dating, am I happy now? Also, if you know that your actions have been exceeding your level of commitment, I want you to take a step back and evaluate the relationship as is. And until next week, again, as always, God bless.